You're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your new favorite podcast for everything Bills and Sabres.
What's going on, everybody? You are here listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your new favorite podcast for everything Bills and Sabres. We got the pals Tom and Jake here today. Nigel's on a holiday break, so we'll give him his time off as blessed by our HR department. We got episode 22 coming at you today. Quick reminder to you to go follow our social media accounts. They are both at Let's Go Buff Pod with 2 F's on Instagram and X. Let's say hey to the fellas. Tom, how you doing today, pal?
I'm great, dude. Good to see you. Good to be here. I'm good, man. I had just this, kind of circumnavigational couple round trips around the globe last week, and put the sleigh away and got the Impreza out again, and we were feeling good, man.
Back in storage till next December, yeah?
Yeah. I'll let the elves work on it for a little bit. Let the reindeer out to pasture, do all that.
Yeah, little tune-ups. Good old Kris Kringle tune-ups for you. Well, I appreciate what you got me for Christmas this year, Tom. Santa. It was very nice. Very nice of you to do.
You're welcome. I'm going to keep it appropriate, but we don't have to share with the class. So,
Well, no illicit activities or substances talked about on this podcast.
Absolutely not here.
No.
Honestly though, my favorite time of year is this little in betweener land between Christmas and New Year's, where it feels like time doesn't exist and just become just a vegetable on the couch. It's wonderful.
Oh my God, dude! I actually had to I started to morph into my couch. I had to literally peel myself off of it after sitting there for too long.
Yeah, it's good.
So it's a nice time.
You're doing it right, though.
That's how you're supposed to do it this time of year. 100%.
Exactly.
I don't know what day it is. I've been eating nothing but cheese and cookies for 3 days.
Just straight Chex Mix.
Exactly. I'm just gonna emerge.
Take a blood sample.
Emerge from my cave in January and deal with all the poor decisions that I made then.
All blinky eyed, but hey, that's what it's for. So
that's what the time of year is about.
Yeah. What do you say? Should we do a little a beer corner?
Yeah, let's pop one open, eh?
Give me a countdown.
Get those fingers ready, Tom. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Tom, you go first. I see you got a nice. Your beer is wrapped up. What are you protecting it from?
It is. I thought this would be a fantastic way to use my new tailgating koozie that my wife got me. It is for those of you not privy to the video here, just audio only. It is a raincoat jacket around my beer, and it's gonna be perfect I have worn this exact outfit for almost every Bills game I've attended, and it's perfect. It's a little tiny, cute little rain jacket with little arms that have handles, and it's hugging my beer. So I'm drinking a hazy, juicy New England IPA called a Mountain Hazy IPA from Shed Brewery here in good old VT. It's tasty.
It sounds delicious, and it looks like it's ready to go crab fishing on the Bering Sea. So I think you're ready.
Or sit in section 300 at a Bills game in Orchard Park.
True. But both use the same outfits, and still fucking freezing and cold as you're sitting in the rain. Yeah. Well, I got a tasty little beer from our friends at Three Heads Brewing, and this is it's called the Loopy. It's a red ale brewed with oats, and it's delicious. Yeah, shout out to them. They got some good beer there.
It sounds good. It sounds really tasty.
So practice safe drinking, folks. Wrap your beer before you stick it in. Let's move on.
Oh no. Yeah. Keep moving with that one. What happened to what's going on with the Sabres land here, pal? Fill me in.
Well, over in Saberland, since we last spoke, Nigel and I had a nice long conversation about the Sabres last week and the ups and mostly downs, and it's kind of been the same since then. We talked about the Sabres after their horrific drubbing from the Columbus Blue Jackets, where they lost 9-4 on home ice. And then we were like, where's this team going to go from here? Like, are we going to see a coaching change? They came out the following game against Toronto and blew past the Leafs 9-3. It was an emotional game for them at home. when you're coming off a bad loss, and they turned up. We'll get more on that in a moment.
Okay. All right.
The two other games that happened since then, they lost in overtime to the Rangers at Madison Square Garden, and then they came home after the holiday break to play the Boston Bruins. At home, around Christmas time, the Sabres typically play the Boston Bruins. They typically lose, and they typically don't do it in a fashion that you like to see from a loss. It's usually embarrassing. It's
graceful.
Usually heartbreaking. Yeah, just pissing on the hats of everybody in the stands that spent
Merry
their holiday
Christmas.
break, their money and time on going to a Sabres game. So not great. Those are the three games that happened since then. Win, overtime, loss, and loss. Not what you want to see from a 3-game stretch. Not what you want to see from a team that needs to get their bearings. So today, December 29th, as we record, the Sabres sit 14, 18, and 4. They're 7th in the division still. They're still 7 points out of a playoff spot. They're down in the dumps at the moment still. So the issue that we've talked about a lot this season, that win against the Toronto team, it's their only win in the past 2 weeks. It was an emotional game. When Buffalo plays Toronto, a lot of Toronto fans make the short drive from Toronto down to Buffalo because tickets are massively cheaper in Buffalo than they are in Toronto. So they get to see their team play not that far away. And so the building gets flooded with blue and white Toronto fans. And I think that pisses the Sabres off a bit, as it should. If another team is filling your own barn, you should be pissed off about that.
Absolutely.
And so they typically play pretty well in those games. There's a chip on their shoulder. They come out ready to play, and they did. But that's something that we've talked about a lot on this podcast, is that this team seems able to get up and play well for games that have that emotional element to them. But they can't do it other times. And that's exactly what happened. They crushed the Leafs. Granted, Toronto did not play superbly. Their goaltender let in some real squeaky goals, and the team didn't play well in front of him. But still, there's still this continuing trend of, if the team is emotionally ready to play, they play well. But that emotional level has not been there for a lot of games.
Yeah, that seems so wild.
Yeah, it's tough. And then I want to talk about the Bruins loss a little bit too. It was they had no business losing that game. Boston was on a 4-game losing streak coming into that. They've shown cracks. They are a team that you can beat if you play the right way. And there was no push from the Sabres. They had a 4-minute long power play early on in the first period when the game was still 0-0 to go in, score on the power play on one. They had 4 minutes. They had 4 minutes to score a power play goal straight, and they could not do it. They couldn't get shots in. I think the best opportunity scoring wise that came from that 4 minutes of play was when Brad Marchand finally came out of the box after 4 minutes, got sprung on a breakaway, and nearly put a puck in the net, the Sabres net. It's just embarrassing to see for 4 straight minutes early in the game. No one's wiped, no one's tired, no one's banged up. The game just fucking started. To not see them put together a meaningful scoring chance in that short stretch was abysmal. And look, that's what lost them the game. Boston scored 3 power play goals that game. Sabres went 0 for 6 on the power play. We've talked about it all year. You're not winning games that way. You're not winning games that way.
That's nothing.
No. So I guess to pull the microscope back, I just wanted to talk about a couple of quotes that I've seen over the past week or two from Kyle Okposo, the captain, and from Don Granato, the head coach. I don't have the exact quotes in front of me, but the gist of them was, I think we need to go back to how we played last year. If we're going to go out of the playoff race, let's go down swinging, playing the way that we did last year. And so the fundamental question, why on this green earth did they radically change what they were doing from last year to this year?
Oh, that's a great idea. Let's go do what worked, huh? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And look, they missed the playoffs last year, and that's obvious to everyone. But they missed by a single point. They were playing their best stretch of hockey into March and April. And like, look, carry that momentum. I know it's a long off season, but carry that momentum into the year. Don't try to fix what isn't broke. What wasn't broke was the offense. So don't neuter the offense to try and play a defensive style of hockey that clearly the roster is not made up to play.
Yeah.
Why are we changing things that were working so well last year? I just don't get it, and it's frustrating to see those quotes because it leaves me wanting more. It's like, well,
Right.
why are we where we are right now? We know that there's cracks in the roster,
Right.
but the coach's job is to come up with a game plan around the pieces that you have in the roster. So it blows my mind. I saw those quotes. I just wanted to bring them up here and just say how frustrating those are to see.
Well, especially because that's what you've been calling for all this time. And like, now that they've dug themselves a hole, like now is the time where I think we're going to go change something up. Like, this would have been helpful 12 games ago, right?
Yeah, well, at least I think they played 36 games. It would have been helpful 36 games ago.
Well, yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with that one. That's just something to monitor, I guess. Especially if they start playing a more improved, like how they did last year. If they go back to that and start playing a more exciting game and do well with it, then I'm going to be pissed at the end of the year if their playoff chances for the year got pissed away during October, November, December, when they're trying to big brain the system and change up the way they play, and that burns them in the playoff race. So
yeah, that'd be really frustrating.
We'll see. The other comment I noted that Don Granato came out and said is that he's going to get more involved with the planning of the power play. In the NHL, that's typically something that's left to the assistant coaches. One of them usually takes the power play, the other one takes the penalty kill, and the head coach is kind of there to monitor everything, but doesn't really get involved in the X's and O's, the nitty gritty of planning out a power play. So it is meaningful that Don Granato came out and said, "Look, I'm getting more involved in the dirty areas of power play planning." So. Look, we'll see what happens there, but still abysmal there. There's nothing to hang your hat on power play wise, so we'll see where that goes.
Is that exciting? Like, does Granato have experience? Like, has he proven that he has some good ideas and can construct good power play ideas, or is this like, oh boy, what are we doing? Like, he's kind of now taken more into his hands.
That's a good question. I don't have specific stats on that of where he has specifically been responsible for power play running in the past, in his past coaching jobs. But I think it's exciting in the sense that there's just a fresh set of eyes. Involved in that, because something's got to change. So it's exciting. Well, I don't think he's some power play guru by any means, but we've talked about it before on this podcast. There's such a glut of offensive scoring talent on the roster. You should be converting power play chances at a higher rate than you are. So if he can unlock something to get them back to where they should be, I think that'd be great.
Yep.
So a couple games coming up.
Something to pay attention to.
Yeah, something to pay attention to. Especially there's a couple winnable games coming up for Buffalo. To close out the 2023 calendar year, they're playing Columbus again Saturday night, December 30th. A team that beat them bad last time, so I hope they come out looking for some revenge there and get it. And then in a New Year's Eve special, they're playing Ottawa on the road. And then in the new year, a couple days off, but then on Thursday, January 4th, playing at Montreal. So all those teams, not phenomenal stacked teams. This might be drastic, but I 3-0 in that stretch is pretty much the only thing acceptable at this point in the season, and where they're currently heading, they need to be 3-0 if we want to keep discussing playoff possibilities.
Yes.
So we will see. However, keep in mind, Tom, that they have not yet recorded a 3-game win streak since last season. So
So let's go. Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, pal. And before we move on to Bills stuff, I did want to talk about some roster moves and roster construction, because the team's a little bit in flux right now. So the big one against the Bruins game, the big one in the Bruins game was Tage Thompson was a late scratch. He was held out for personal reasons against the Bruins. I believe his wife was pregnant, and so I'm assuming that the child came. So wish the best to him and his family. Hope everyone's healthy. He should be back on Saturday against Columbus, so that's good news.
Yep.
And then returning from injury, Zemgus Girgensons is rumored to be back for Saturday's game as well. And so because of that, Buffalo had to make a couple of roster moves to make some room. The first one, Tyson Jost, was sent down to Rochester. He had to be put through waivers, and he did officially clear waivers, so he'll be assigned to Rochester. And then the other one that is the more concerning one that I'm not happy about is Ryan Johnson being sent down to Rochester. Ryan Johnson's a young player. He did not need waivers, so that's likely why he went down first.
Yep.
However, Ryan Johnson has been one of the best 4 defensemen on Buffalo's roster for some time now. And to me personally, I've not noticed any dip in his game. So it's a questionable decision from me. We'll see how it works out, but he has every business being in the NHL. It's a little sickening to see him get sent down right now.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
But we'll see. So like I said, Tage Thompson back in Saturday. Zemgus Girgensons back in Saturday. I don't think Zemgus Girgensons missing has been the reason for the fall of the team, but I think he'll give a spark on the bottom line. Hopefully Tage Thompson comes out and dominates like he can, but has not really showed this year, and puts him back in some contention. But right now, with those moves, the Sabres have nearly over $5 million of salary buried in the minors. Jost at $2 million, Jacob Bryson at $1.85 million, and Riley Stillman at $1.35 million. It's just it's frustrating to see those players not performing to where they could or where they were that earned them that money. It's frustrating to see Buffalo needing to bury that money in the minors. They're not up against the salary cap, so it's not really a salary cap issue at the moment, but it's just you don't see that kind of money buried in the minors very often, and there's a reason for it. Those players weren't playing great. But yeah, it's tough to see that much money stashed away in your minor league system.
That's some head scratching management things, like, hey, what are we doing here, kind of thing.
Yeah, why are we giving out $2 million to Tyson Jost in the offseason if he's an expendable forward that we're going to stash in the minors later on?
Right.
And look, he hasn't played great. He's been a plug at best. So nothing against him. That's the game that he plays. But yeah, you'd like to see some smarter roster management throughout the season. So
right.
Anyways,
okay. Well, buckle up, huh?
Yeah, buckle up. We'll see if the new year can bring anything better for the Sabres, but till then, we'll see. We'll sit and wait.
Yeah, we're not dead yet, but getting close to it.
Not dead yet, but need to start proving that you're alive. So start showing me that you have a pulse.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, go Sabres.
Go Sabres. Anyways, we'll touch back on them in a little bit, but let's move on to Bills Chargers. Yeah, what'd you think of that game on Saturday night?
Well, let me paint you a little picture, and I want you to tell me what kind of game you thought this might be if this is the picture I'm painting. Ready? Get this. Bills punted on their first 3 drives. Deontay Hardy fumbled the punt, setting up the Chargers for their first 7 points. Not good. Josh Allen had a goofy decision. The guy just thinking he's a freaking action figure, which he is. However, it sometimes bites him in the ass. And he had a wild throw across his body from past the right hash all the way across his body to the left side of the field. Digs probably 60 yards down the field. Slightly too short, got picked off. Goofy throw. A whole smorgasbord of penalties in a variety of different places, in a variety of different inopportune moments. And James Cook fumbled the ball 2 times. Would you say, knowing our Buffalo Bills, Jake, did they win the game?
I would say no. No shot.
Exactly. Somehow, We pulled it out. We pulled it out of our butts, won that game, and honestly, that's what good teams do. There's always these games where we've seen in the past of the Chiefs winning a stupid game where they should not have, or the New England Patriots doing it literally all the time for the last 20 years of winning the games that, man, they should not have, and they did. So we take it. The Bills eventually started coming back to life. I think they eventually figured out, like, oh, yeah, we can score points here. We can play this game. And, on a single one-play drive, Josh Allen scrambling to his right, making something out of nothing, had an enormous 57-yard touchdown throw to Gabe Davis. Brought spark back to things. Khalil Shakir was excellent in a bunch of different places. He was a great little safety valve. And I think I'm trying to figure out a nickname for him around that idea, but I think he's been great at that throughout the entire season. And then Ed Oliver has proven that he is the steal of the offseason. He has been so valuable. I think I've heard in either interviews with Ed Oliver, I couldn't find the exact quote, so I was trying to find it, but I'm pretty sure Ed Oliver, McDermott went to Ed Oliver at the end of the game and said, "Ed, we need a sack here." He said, "Okay, coach, here I go." And he went and made it happen. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's just fires me up. So cool to hear. So, the Bills came out of that one alive, won 24-22. We're able to kind of wither away the end of the clock there and get a game-winning field goal by Tyler Bass, which was great to see because he's kind of been off and on this season. But it's good to see that he was able to win that or get that kick when we needed it. So more adventurous of a game than we wanted, but we did it.
Definitely more adventurous. I mean, I was just on the edge of my seat pretty much till the end of the game with the what's it called when they're doing all the lateraling and stuff? Is there an official name for that?
Kind of just there is an official name of it. What is it? Just some kind of crazy backyard football kind of play.
Yeah, just yeah. I like watching it, but it was pretty happy when the ball was dead.
Yeah, are you kidding me? Yeah, yes. That was
so.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. I was going to switch the subject.
That was some cool coaching decisions being made there because Sean McDermott took a timeout right at the end there, right before that play, and took a bunch of the D tackles off the field, put 9 defensive backs on the field, and kind of anticipating this, crazy, more athletic kind of play where he needed players in coverage that were able to kind of take that down. So I thought that was a great decision. That ended up paying off.
Good. Yeah. Can we talk about Gabe Davis for a minute? Because
old peekaboo Gabe Davis.
Yeah, now that he's back, clearly he was off the roster for 3 weeks, right? I must not be imagining that.
Yeah, he was sent on vacation.
But like what? So this dude came out and had a massive game. Why is he only able to do that once every 4th game, 5th game, whatever? Like, is it the defenses that give him something? Like,
he just gets to play. He gets to play one game a month, and he's good. Man, I don't know. The fantasy football player in me also is frustrated because I also have him in fantasy football and have been just tortured by this man.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Because clearly he's involved in important. He has one of the highest snap percentages on the entire team. So he plays a large majority of the game, 90% plus every game, because he's out there blocking. He's a very good, large human being in wide receiver world, at least, and is able to block really well. He sets things up. He's clearly can have hands and make crazy catches and be really athletic. I don't know. I think yes, I think sometimes it boils down to what the opposing team is planning for. And lately, they have really been putting the damper on Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of honestly been a little frustrating that Diggs hasn't been able to break through that. But they're paying a lot of attention to him, which then opens things up for other players like Gabe. I think Gabe's had some targets in the last few games. It's just he hasn't connected on them. He's had a bunch of drops or it's been a bad throw from Josh. So I think there's a variety of different things kind of contributing to that. But, I think it is nice to know that he can come alive occasionally, and have a huge game. He had like 130 yards and a touchdown. Like that's a real game, and dude, I don't know. I actually don't know why he comes alive every so often. It must be it feels like a werewolf kind of thing, where like it's just the time once a month he's able to go out there and be a monster.
Yeah, it's crazy, but just wanted to ask. Anything else pop out to you from that game? Like anything else you saw?
No, other than hopefully they got their wiggles out with kind of playing some silly, sloppy ball, and thankfully we're not bit in the butt and we're able to come home with a win. No, nothing else was really kind of too much. Nice to see the D line be able to take over when needed. Greg Rousseau had a bunch of great run stuff. So that guy is just so good at that.
Yeah. We talked about this one being a trap game, and in a lot of ways it was. Like on paper, the Bills are much better than the Chargers with Justin Herbert not being their starter. And it was a close game. So they came out on the right side of it, but still they had to overcome some adversity to get there. We talked about how the Bills don't like traveling west and don't typically do well in those games. They were coming off an emotional win. So it's good to see him put the business away. But man, yeah, it was it was a little hairier than we were hoping for.
Yeah. Well, that was not necessary, boys. We don't need a win like that. Please do not. Okay? Let's avoid that. But yeah. No, I think it was a good win to have, right? Those are the wins. That's what the win against should have been against the Patriots earlier. Should have been against the Broncos earlier this season. Should have been a variety of the Jets, right? Like these weird, kind of wacky, weird games. And we've kind of taken losses on those. So it's nice to see them come up and be like, okay, wait a second. We need to go home with this win. And they did.
Yeah, exactly.
So really good to see. Before we roll into this week's coverage, because I'm excited about that. However, I wanted to just open up a conversation about our prized possession, our stallion, Josh Allen, being in the running for MVP. I know that we are a Buffalo-based podcast, so we are clearly homers and clearly biased. And yes, I even have money down on Josh Allen being MVP. So yeah, I want the guy to win MVP. However, I do think kind of the narratives around him have been awfully silly. He is still in the top 5 for Vegas odds for winning the MVP, behind like Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Lamar Jackson. Tyreek Hill is in there. And Josh is up in there. I can't remember the exact numbers. I don't have them in front of me. However, I don't think any of them are doing what he's doing. I just don't. And it's been pretty frustrating. So I want to kind of set the scene for my argument for Josh to win MVP and just kind of open it up for a little bit of kind of conversation here. But the kind of so stats wise, oftentimes MVP has turned into a little bit of a quarterback award, right? Last few years, it's been forever since we've had a non-quarterback win MVP. It has to be a 2,000-yard season from a running back or just something ridiculous for that to even be considered. So oftentimes
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but who was the last player that wasn't a quarterback to win it? Like how often does that happen, or is it kind of like it's a quarterback
I
trophy?
don't remember. Can you go do some Googling? Because I don't want to pull out. I want to pull it on my butt and say the wrong thing. So I'm going to send you off on a little fact finding mission. Okay.
All right, you do that. While I do that, you wax poetic about our boy Josh.
Yeah. I'm going to start with a little stats compilation from our Buffalo sports writer, Sal Capaccio, at Sal Sports on Twitter. He put together a little bit of a compilation here in the past week of aggregate stats across the season for a bunch of different quarterbacks. And Josh is currently 4th in total yards. So that combines rushing and passing for 4,191. He's 1st in total touchdowns by a lot. He has 40. We'll come back to that in a second. And he also, no, I'm going to save that stat for a second. So those are the two important ones. The, Josh Allen is the first player in NFL history to have 40 total touchdowns in 4 straight seasons. Never has happened. Not Peyton, not Tom Brady, not anybody. He's extended his record of most games with 1 passing touchdown and 1 rushing touchdown to 11 so far, and he's still got 2 more games this season. It could arguably be 13 games where he has, and he could smash that record by like 3 or 4 different games. It's been insane. He accounts for 83.3% of the Bills' total team touchdowns. Most other quarterbacks are well below 60. So anytime that he is passing the ball to somebody scoring a touchdown or he is rushing it in himself, it's him. The guy's just printing points at this point. And unfortunately, the kind of the things that are going against Josh are the his turnovers and the team record, which to me are kind of, well, the turnovers, he is third in total turnovers. He has 18. There are two other players with 19. Sam Howell and Trevor Lawrence both have 19. So he's not leading the league for all you trolls out there. And the Bills are 9-6, which is usually goes against an MVP winner. However, I still think that's silly because it's not always his fault. He has set up the team to go win. It's been goofy other things that really has gotten in the way. So, do you got the list, bud?
I got you. Yeah. All right. So since 1957, when the award was first awarded, it's gone to 42 quarterbacks and only 18 players that are non-quarterbacks. So
Okay.
18 total. The last time a non-quarterback won the MVP was 2012. Can you name the player? I'll put you on the spot. Played for the Vikings.
Was it Adrian Peterson?
It was. Good guess.
Yeah.
And since the turn of the century, only 4 players that are not a quarterback have won the MVP. So pretty impressive to do if you're not a quarterback, it seems.
Yes, it is. So, yeah, kind of has turned into that, but man, I don't know. So I don't know. It just seems silly. Like everybody's coming out with like Lamar. The Ravens are more dominant. They have a better team record, but he doesn't have as many touchdowns. He only has a couple more yards. He only has like 3 or 4 less turnovers than Josh, but Josh has like 15 more touchdowns. Like, I don't know. It just seems silly. It seems that people are taking into team record into account much more than they should. But I mean, I think it's people not getting that out of their heads of that team record does not necessarily mean who's most valuable to that team.
I totally agree. I think it's easy to have your thoughts get clouded by how the team itself performs, but the essence of the award is for the most valuable player. Which player helps their team win or lose said games most? And I totally agree with you. I think Josh Allen plays a bigger part in the Bills' wins and losses than Lamar Jackson does in Baltimore.
Yeah,
for example, or and any of the weapons that are in San Francisco. I mean, that offense is stacked, right? Like, how are you picking an MVP from that? Like, Brock Purdy's throwing to all-star level athletes at all positions, skill wise. So
yeah,
I
don't know,
totally
man.
agree with what you're saying, dude.
Josh has got my vote. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna send in my ballot, and they'll probably reject it because I'm not exactly part of the MVP, voting promenade, but that's right. So
I think
anyway,
you should send it in. I'm biased, but you've convinced me.
Hey, I think we should. Hey, right, let's do it. So if it was up to me, it would be him. But let's just have him go nuclear, and we win out, and maybe we go get the number 2 seed, and maybe he could still be part of it. So it's still there. The door is still open.
It is. It's mind blowing that the number 2 seed is still in consideration too,
right?
Given how dark some of the conversations were a couple weeks ago. It's
here we are.
String some good things together.
We're not dead yet. So I think that's a nice little segue into this week because the Bills have quite the opportunity in front of them. There are, with a win against the New England Patriots this Sunday at 1 p.m., New Year's Eve, the Bills have 14 different playoff clinching possibilities that could lock their place into at least a wild card spot in the playoffs. And that starts with the Bills winning. If the Ravens knock off the Dolphins this week, and then the Bills win next week, the division it will be won, and that does still open up the number 2 seed. That is still an option for how things can roll. So there's still a lot to be had here, and lots of opportunities for the Bills to punch their ticket, get in, and then go make some noise. So pretty exciting. This week, some kind of the headliner news. Mr. Daquan Jones will be active. Sean McDermott said on WMGR. WGR, excuse me, WGR. No M. There's an M in my neck of the woods, but not in the Buffalo neck of the woods. Said that Daquan Jones is gonna be active this week, which is insane. The guy, he tore his pec in the Jacksonville Week 5 game, across the pond in London, and that was just devastating because the guy was playing at an all-pro level, like just clearly just a dominant force. And honestly, if he comes back, I am. I am hoping that he's healthy. I'm hoping they're not rushing him back because the 21-day window was opened. He could have just rested this week. I hope we're not rushing this because we need him for the postseason. But man, if he's back to form, like him and Ed Oliver up the middle, it's gonna he's gonna ruin grown men's lives this weekend, and I'm excited for
it. I'm here for it. Hope see
Yeah.
what he can do.
See what's gonna happen. So, yeah, big game. The Bills last time they played the Patriots earlier this season, they lost 25-29. In kind of that embarrassing win, gave up more points to the Patriots than anybody has all season. They scored more than they have, and then they proceeded to like get shut out the next couple weeks and had scored 3 points. But we let them have 29, so that's good. Against Mac Jones.
Sorry, wait. I missed that. That 29 is the most points they've scored in any game at all this season.
Let's go double check that, but I'm pretty sure Patriots.
That's crazy
schedule.
on a couple of levels.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not surprised Mac Jones wasn't able to score more than that, but still, that was at a time when the Bills defense was a bit more healthy than they have been for that game. I think I can't exactly remember when the injuries stacked up, but
yeah, no,
man,
exactly.
You'd think they'd be able to hold Mac Jones to less than that, but
you don't think so. You ready for the number of points the Patriots scored this season?
Yeah,
week
hit me
1,
with them.
20. Week 2, 17. Week 3, 15. 3, 0, 17. 29 against the Bills. 17, 17, 6, 7, 0. 21, 17, 26. And then us. Yep, most points that we allowed to the Patriots all season, and it was the Buffalo Bills. So let's not do that this week. And take care of business. The defense last time was also the Patriots defense, rather, was able to kind of bamboozle Josh Allen. He's had their ticket for a while. And I mean, it's Bill Belichick, who's one of the smartest defensive minds to ever coach this game. So like, it was a matter of time until he was going to be able to stifle Josh Allen a little bit. There was lots of stunts, really high blitz rate. So just a lot too much for Josh to handle. And Ken Dorsey's offense to handle at that time. So I'm really hoping that Joe Brady comes up with some better answers. Some answers that I would suggest, if I were being polled, would include lots of short, quick passing game answers, right? Let's get the ball out of Josh's hands, get some rhythm, get them kind of back on their heels, score early so that way they can't just be in pursuit mode. I think this is going to be a big Kincaid, Diggs, and Cook game with a lot of short completions, some screens, some across the middles, just really putting them into conflict. The Patriots linebackers are very, very good against the run, like some of the best in the league. However, they're larger athletes and less athletic. And I think if we get Dalton Kincaid one-on-one with those guys, just money all day long, just pepper them. Get James Cook, get Dalton Kincaid against lined up on with these linebackers and just go to town. I think really stress them in ways that they're not wanting to be, and then you have a solution here.
Yeah, get them moving and getting the ball out quicker. That's to counteract the high blitz rate that you were talking about. Is that the right way to think of it?
Right, exactly. And honestly, maybe even, I mean, because we're gonna get into the run game here in a second. You can't really run on the Patriots. They have a very, very good run defense. They're pretty much the best in the league. But you can throw on them, and I think that would kind of take their blitzing and their D line out of the game if we can get the ball out of Josh's hands really quick and really get the ball moving. I think that'd be that's my suggestion. And that includes lots of play action, right? So setting up play action. So we have short little smart uses of run game, smart uses of holding onto the ball and passing, setting up some deep shots, like really get that Patriots defense guessing, and don't let them dictate. Take the ball into our hands and play the game that we want to play and not play their game. Particularly this run defense for the Patriots is phenomenal. They are second in rushing yards allowed across the season, and first in yards per carry allowed at 3.2, which is nothing. A good solid yards per carry is like 4.5. Like you are playing really well. Anything above that, you're playing incredibly well. And below that starts to kind of, wither away. And particularly to 3.2 is like nothing. So don't expect a huge run game from James Cook this week, but I think we can get 50, 60 yards of him in 5 or 6 receptions in the passing game. So I think that's gonna be a big deal.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean the run game has been good kind of throughout the year, but recently too they've kind of leaned on that for particularly in the Dallas game. But they've leaned on the run game lately. So let's see if Joe Brady can scheme up something to counteract a defense that excels in stopping that.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have much luck there. But that's okay because we have Josh Allen and other great wide receivers. So I think we can. It is gonna be a much more pass heavy game in my imagination.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see.
Any players on the defensive side over there to watch out for this week?
Christian Barmore has just been a freaking bear in the middle of that D line. The guy is just phenomenal. He's really fun to watch. I hate saying that, but he is. He's a wrecking ball and just causing havoc both in the run game and the pass game. Mitch Morse and Connor McGovern and Osiris Torrance are going to have their hands full with him up in the middle of that offensive line. And like I said, those run stuffing linebackers are just, they mean business. They're no joke. The secondary, I think, can be had. So again, leans into a passing game, right? I think their secondary can be had. I think they can. That's where we can make some hay. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Hopefully Diggs breaks through because he, like you mentioned it earlier, but he's struggled a little bit. He's been kind of targeted by other teams' defenses. So hopefully he can have a big game. And
I just want that for him. I just want him to come out with 6 for 120 and a touchdown. Like let's remind everybody of who Stephon Diggs is. That would feel good. I don't know if it's going to happen this week. I really don't. I'm not worried about Diggs at all. He is still a top wide receiver. He is a big contributor. He's been a great leader in this locker room. I'm not worried about him. He's going to come to life when we need him. In one particular game or a couple games coming up here. But this would be a fun one just to let loose and remind everybody. Yeah, let's not forget, but we'll find out. And the big thing for me, kind of like my overarching thought here, is that the Bills are the ones with something to lose here. The Patriots are coming in with an excellent opportunity to go piss in our Cheerios and take something, play game wrecker and ruin some postseason opportunities. They're not in the postseason, right? So I think the Bills need to be ready to. Thankfully, they're coming to Orchard Park, right? Let's bring them home. Let's take care of business and send them packing. Let's remind this is our opportunity to push for that division lead again, and I think it's a big deal. So I think it's time for the boys to go take care of business.
Not a freebie though. Can't discount any opponent in this league. So hopefully, I agree with you. I hope they're ready to take care of business and show why they're still in contention for that number 2 seed. Show why they should be a team nobody wants to play in January, and don't give up opportunities to a team that's down in the dirt. Push their face into the mud, kind of thing. So
right,
we'll see.
Yep, be the bully. That's what we need. But we'll find out. Some rooting interest for this week of what's happening in the other games. Clearly, we want the Bills to win over the Patriots. The other big one is we want the Ravens to beat the Dolphins. A Dolphins loss means that next week is the division is up for grabs. So that's a big deal. Go Ravens.
Huge. Go Ravens.
Other just kind of playoff contention games. I'm not going to list all of them, but these are the important ones. We want the Raiders over the Colts. We want the Panthers over the Jaguars. We want the Titans over the Texans. We want the Seahawks over the Steelers, the Chargers over the Broncos, and the Chiefs over the Bengals. Those are the big, meaningful playoff resonating games that are happening here.
We'll see what happens around the NFL this weekend. Good stuff. And the Bills can clinch, right? You mentioned. So that's it could happen. Let's see. But
clearest path of those 14 different opportunities is Bills win over Patriots. The Seahawks beat the Steelers, and the Chiefs beat the Bengals.
And those
3 things happen. Yes, that locks us in.
Interesting. All right. That's exciting, man. We'll see. I'm hoping to see a little X next to their name soon, but we'll see what happens as the year goes on.
Yes, sir. We'll find out.
So, Tom, unless you had anything else on the Bills specifically for next week,
I do not. I'm excited for this next segment. Hit me.
it's almost New Year's, and while I will do absolutely nothing to improve myself, I thought we could project a little bit onto others and give some New Year's resolutions for the Sabres and the Bills. What do you think?
Sounds good to me. Yeah, I like it.
So, as I said, I will continue to be wallowing in my despair. But the Sabres, let's talk about what needs to go better or right for them in January and into the new year. For me, we've already talked about it on this podcast. Get back to their game that they were playing in this calendar year at the end of last season. Free the offense. Let the offense be creative and not at the expense of defensive play. And I think that solves a lot of problems because you're getting similar goaltending to last year. You're getting similar defensive stats to last year. So why are we shoehorning in a system that has all those same things be true about the defense and goaltending and penalty killing and all of that, but without the offensive firepower that they had? So that's what I want to see. Get back to the roots that they established last year. Play a free, fun, exciting brand of hockey, and just make it more exciting to watch again. That's all I can hope for. And then the second one I wrote down was fix the goddamn power play, please, please. That would contribute to point one. That would help them get off the ground a little bit. That's all I want to see. I don't have anything specific on how to do that because I'm not a coach. But man, I got to get excited about the Sabres going on the power play again because that has not been there. So. Anyways, those are my resolutions for the Sabres. But how about the Bills, Tom? What are we thinking there for New Year's changes for them or things to aspire to?
I got 2 whole team ones and 1 specific one. So, number 1, I want the Bills to commit to running play action well over 30% for the rest of the year throughout the playoffs. Magic happens. Why are we not doing it? And then my specific one is for Mr. Sean McDermott. I don't know what he's taking. I don't know if he's eating his breakfast differently, taking his coffee differently. Whatever he's doing, he needs to ride this improved decision-making streak. He's done better. And man, oh man, the superstitious fan in me the alarms are going off right now with these New Year's resolutions, Jake. I don't know if this is a good idea, but man, that guy has I need him to continue on his new thought process because it's working. And then lastly, boys, playoffs start now. This is your chance to make some noise. Play with your back against the wall. Nothing to lose. Go make a statement. Right now, everybody's down on the Bills. Everybody's ready to go be excited about Joe Flacco playing with the Browns. Let's remind them that the Bills are part of this. So go make some noise. That's my third one, final one. And I think that we should write these down and mail them to the team.
Mine's already drafted. I just got to drop it in the mail letter.
Mm-hmm.
Drop it in the mail later.
I like it.
Yeah, man. Play your balls off. It's that time. Make a statement.
I like it.
All right, Tom, before we get out of here, do we have time for a game? You want to play a little game?
Yeah. Nigel sucked at the game last week, and I had the answer a while before he did, so I'm excited to beat the pants off of Nigel.
Yeah, let's see. So I gave Nigel 10 guesses to name a specific Bills player.
Yep.
And I'm going to give you the same opportunity. Fair warning, it is a different player than last time. So
Lee Evans.
All right, Tom. Yeah, any question you want to ask about this guy, you can. Okay. I have the answers at my fingertips. Okay. I'll give you 10 questions, and then you need to make a guess.
Okay, here we go. Offensive or defensive?
Offensive.
Are they currently on the team?
No.
Okay. What position do they play? Or is that an unfair question?
No, not an unfair question. I will give you offensive lineman.
Offensive lineman, okay. Not currently on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, offensive lineman's tough. Okay. Okay. What's going to be a question that will help narrow this down?
Anything's in play. Any question you want.
Do they play interior lineman or outside lineman, like a tackle?
Interior.
Interior. Okay. Oh boy. Are they a center?
They are.
Okay. Have they played in the last 10 years?
Yes.
Okay. I'm feeling that was 6, right? That was number 6.
That was 6.
Okay.
4 to go.
I'm feeling pretty good about it. That one's a very specific one about that one player, so I'm gonna wait. Were they not currently on the team? I only know a couple centers. So did his career end with a neck injury?
Ooh. Bear with me.
All right, then want me to just guess my player? I know 2 centers off the top of my head, and one of them plays for them right now.
His career did end because of a neck injury.
That's Eric Wood, isn't it?
It's Eric Wood.
Woo-hoo! All right.
Tom won the prize.
All right. Yeah, the Nigel Sucks prize. All right, I like it.
I'm glad you came up with your own.
Sorry, Nigel. I'm just very competitive. I apologize, buddy. I love you.
All right, Tom.
All right,
some good fun
Eric
there.
Wood. Hey, did you know he is currently still affiliated with the team? Right, he does some reporting, and he does. Yeah, he's still affiliated. He's still around.
I did not know that. No, that's interesting. He was a good player, right?
He was very good. Yes, he was very good. And unfortunately, his career got cut short. Yeah, he had some kind of, I can't remember exactly specifics on the neck injury, but his career ended because he had some kind of scary neck injury, and he retired rather young. And then I think we had somebody else, and then Mitch Morse, I think. Or it could have been Mitch Morse right after. It might have been. I can't remember.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Well, pretty cool.
Too bad his career was cut short, but yeah, great player for the Bills. So nice guessing, Tom. You got there. Maybe we'll, might have to give you a handicap, give you like 8 questions or something.
I like that. I'll take that. But hey, man, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you and your wife. And here we go. This is the thick of it for both. We're starting to get in the thick of it for both teams. Honestly, this is meaningful plays, meaningful games for both the Sabres and the Bills. So all of you out there, stay tuned in and hang on and follow along. A big thing for us, though, is please, the best way for us to kind of spread our podcast is through you guys, through sharing. So please share this podcast. Please give us a like. If you see our Instagram post or our Twitter post and you can just hit that reshare button, like that would be awesome. And would be really, really helpful. We would definitely appreciate you guys. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for spending some times with us. It would mean, like I said, quite a bit to us if you share this episode. Give us a like, give us a follow. We're on Instagram and X at Let's Go Buffalo Pods. My name is Tom. That's my buddy Jake. And you're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast. Go Bills, go Sabres, let's go Buffalo.